Why are we eating engine lubricant? What if a $200 billion ingredient in our food is quietly shrinking our brains and lowering our intelligence?
From ranch to Italian.
The dumbing down of America.
Making our kids dumber.
Brain is permanently stunted by food that...
Back in the 1930s, a Polish farmer immigrated to Canada with a plant whose seeds produced an oil ideal for lubricating industrial machinery. During World War II, Canada mass-produced this oil to keep Allied ship engines running. But when the war ended, the need for machine lubricant dropped. Yet we were left with fields full of these oilseed plants and factories built to process them. Here's the shocking part. To make just 1 tablespoon of this oil, you need around 70,000 seeds. It goes through an intense industrial process. High-pressure extraction, solvent washing, often with hexane, sodium hydroxide refining, bleaching, and finally steam deodorizing to remove the unpleasant smell. That end product? It's now sold to us as healthy cooking oil. Canola oil, for example, has become a most widely used cooking oil in America. You probably have some in your kitchen right now. These are known as seed oils, highly refined vegetable oils from seeds like canola, soy, corn, sunflower, and others. Once unheard of in the human diet, seed oils are now one of the most consumed food ingredients in the EU. In fact, the average American gets about 720 daily calories from these processed oils. Here's why that matters. The human brain is about 60% fat, and seed oils contain types of fats, specifically omega-6 polyunsaturated fats, that we've never eaten in such massive quantities throughout most of human history. So it's reasonable to ask, could this dramatic shift in fat consumption be affecting our brains and cognitive abilities? Some scientists think so. In fact, when vegetable oils were removed from the diets of lab animals and replaced with more natural fats and nutrients like vitamin E and selenium, symptoms similar to Alzheimer's disease disappeared. And it's not just a modern concern. In 1979, researchers noticed a disturbing drop in the average IQ of children in Massachusetts. Kids were struggling more in school, showing signs of impaired learning, attention deficits, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. What was causing it? To the 1920s, an engineer named Thomas Midgley developed a new fuel additive called tetraethyl lead, which made gasoline more efficient. It also turned out to be a major brain toxin. For decades, cars pumped lead into the air across America. The result? A measurable drop in children's IQ nationwide, linked to widespread lead exposure. Thankfully, leaded gasoline was phased out starting in 1973. But what if today's equivalent brain threat is hiding in plain sight, in the foods we eat every day? If you're interested in protecting your brain and health from the effects of seed oils, stick around to the end of this video. I've got a free gift to help you make smarter food choices.
Q scores seem to be drifting up, but there's also evidence that the effect is slowing down and possibly reversing.
By 2018, Norwegian researchers discovered that IQ scores were not only stalling, they had begun to slightly decline in people born after 1975. And it wasn't just Norway. Similar trends were reported in Denmark, the UK, France, the Netherlands, Finland, and Estonia. Ole Rojberg, the lead researcher, addressed a common critique. Could the decline simply be due to genetics? Maybe people with lower IQs were having more kids? His answer was no. The data showed IQ was decreasing within families. Michael Crawford, director of the Institute of Brain Chemistry and Human Nutrition, warns that if current trends continue, we may be heading toward a real-life idiocracy. He and other researchers believe that this cheap, mass-produced fat, used in everything from salad dressings to packaged snacks, might be degrading brain health across generations. It's a bold claim. So let's take a step back. What actually makes us intelligent in the first place? In the film Lucy, Scarlett Johansson's character becomes so smart she travels back through time and meets an ancient ancestor, also named Lucy, a reference to the famous early human fossil from 2 million years ago. For millions of years, primate brain size increased slowly. Then, around 2 million years ago, something changed. Our ancestors' brains suddenly began growing at a much faster pace. To put it in perspective, if women's height increased at the same rate as brain volume, the average woman today would stand at 8. 5 feet tall. Why did this happen? One idea is that humans began cooking starchy tubers like wild potatoes, gaining access to more calories to fuel a calorie-hungry brain. But while tubers are high in energy, they lack the essential nutrients needed to build a brain. A better theory? Meat. Hunting provided early humans with protein, essential vitamins, and most importantly, fats. Crawford believes animal fats were key, but not just any fats. In the 1980s, he began studying what kinds of fats were found in brains and discovered two that stood out: arachidonic acid, A, and docosahexaenoic acid, DHA. Both are critical for brain development. AA can be found in land animals, but DHA? That's mostly found in the brains and eyes of animals, parts that early humans would have had to work hard to get, unless they found an easier source: seafood. Unlike monkeys and other primates, humans evolved near aquatic environments where fish and shellfish were abundant. These sources provided massive amounts of DHA, which played a critical role in our brain evolution. Today, the average diet lacks DHA, and worse, it's overloaded with another kind of fat: processed seed oils. These industrial oils, high in omega-6 fats, are crowding out the healthy fats our brains actually need. To test this, researchers at UC Davis conducted a decades-long study. They fed rhesus monkeys a diet rich in DHA for their entire lives, 17 to 19 years. When they scanned their brains, they found that these monkeys developed more connected, better organized neural networks, closely resembling healthy human brains. A brain-boosting ingredient hiding in your food, what grows your brain? Food, and one ingredient in particular: DHA. DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, is one of the most critical nutrients for brain development and function. And the best natural source of DHA? Seafood. Fish, shellfish, crustaceans, algae. They're loaded not only with DHA, but also with other brain-boosting nutrients like protein, vitamin A, zinc, choline, iodine, selenium, and B12. Michael Crawford points out how easy and safe it would have been for early humans to simply walk along the shore and gather these nutrient-rich foods, instead of having to hunt dangerous land animals. Professor Stephen Cunnin of the University of Toronto agrees. He believes a shoreline diet was essential to the rapid evolution of the human brain. A 2012 study even found that breastfeeding mothers who consumed more omega-3s, like DHA, had babies with significantly larger brains, especially in the frontal cortex, the area responsible for higher-level thinking, decision-making, and long-term planning. Other studies suggest that low DHA levels can lead to shrinkage in this part of the brain. DHA has also been shown to improve attention, learning, and memory, and may reduce ADHD symptoms in children. Think of dolphins, the geniuses of the sea. They thrive on a raw fish diet full of DHA. So why don't dolphins just keep getting smarter? Researchers say it's because smarter brains require more oxygen, and dolphin brains already use so much that getting any bigger would reduce their ability to dive. And that brings us to a fascinating theory, the aquatic ape hypothesis. Though controversial, this theory suggests that humans may have evolved from ancestors who lived in or near water. There are some strange clues. Humans are mostly hairless, unlike other primates, a trait that helps with swimming. We also have a thick layer of subcutaneous fat, which aids buoyancy, and our upright walking posture may have been adapted for wading through water. While mainstream anthropology largely dismisses this theory, there's no denying our surprising adaptability to water. For instance, humans can hold their breath far longer than other primates. The Bajau people of Southeast Asia, known as sea nomads, dive for seafood for hours every day. Their genetics have even adapted. A larger spleen stores more oxygen-rich red blood cells, letting some Bajau divers hold their breath for over 10 minutes. Another aquatic clue? Our noses. Unlike flat-nosed monkeys, human noses stick out, a design that helps keep water out when diving. Interestingly, one of the few monkey species that swims well, the proboscis monkey, also has a large protruding nose. Now let's talk about IQ. As of 2019, Japan topped global IQ rankings with an average of 106 compared to the average of 97. IQ is influenced by many factors, but Japan's DHA-rich diet may play a role. The Japanese eat about twice as much fish as Americans. A typical Japanese breakfast includes white rice, fermented soybeans, miso soup with seaweed, grilled fish, and more seaweed on the side. Even convenience stores sell fish-based snacks like rice balls with tuna or grilled salmon. Japan also eats a lot of raw fish like sashimi, important because DHA degrades when cooked. A 2022 survey found that the second most popular way of eating fish in Japan is raw. The country has more sushi restaurants than fast food and pizza places combined. So what's the brain-shrinking ingredient? It's a type of fat that's now everywhere. Linoleic acid, found in vegetable oils. Michael Crawford explains that while DHA helps brain cells grow, linoleic acid competes for space in those same cells. When your diet is high in linoleic acid, it can actually block DHA from being absorbed into the brain. Rhinos are a perfect example. Despite being huge animals, their brains are tiny. Why? They eat a plant-based diet high in linoleic acid and almost no DHA. Their brains simply don't grow large. Unfortunately, most of us today consume large amounts of linoleic acid every single day. It's found in common cooking oils like sunflower, soybean, corn, canola, and grapeseed oil. These industrial seed oils didn't exist for 99% of human history, but now they're in nearly every processed food, fried food, salad dressing, and even mayonnaise. Meanwhile, Japan, again, the country with the highest IQ, consumes about half as much vegetable oil as Americans. The contrast is even more clear in schools. In the U.S., many school lunches are processed, pre-packaged, and fried, often using seed oils. After a 1970 law allowed schools to contract food services to private companies, cost-cutting became the norm. In Japan, school lunches are freshly prepared from scratch every day and designed by professional nutritionists. Crawford's findings are striking. Animals with high DHA and low linoleic acid had larger brains. Those with the opposite, high linoleic acid and low DHA, had smaller ones. Journalist Nina Tykals explains in her book The Big Fat Surprise, it all began in 1911 when soap manufacturer Procter & Gamble found a way to turn inedible cotton seeds into a cooking fat, Crisco. They marketed it as a cleaner, more modern alternative to lard. And that's when these industrial oils started taking over the food supply. How vegetable oils took over our diet. In our brains by 1916, sales of Crisco, a crystallized cottonseed oil product, had exploded, reaching 60 million units. This success paved the way for a flood of other vegetable oils like corn, canola, and soybean oils. The result? Our daily vegetable oil intake skyrocketed from virtually zero in 1865 to around 80 grams today. That's more than a pound of seed oils per week, or roughly 720 calories a day, all from oil. Today, vegetable oils are part of a $212 billion industry as of 2022. Then came in 1980 dietary guidelines, which recommended swapping out animal fats like butter and lard for vegetable oils. Interestingly, the rise in vegetable oil consumption seems to coincide with the slowdown of IQ growth in Americans. Cutting seed oils is a great first step toward better brain and body health. I'm also creating a free guide to help you avoid and reduce linoleic acid in your diet. Also, as part of my daily health routine, I use electrolytes to boost energy and focus, especially during fasting or workouts. That's where Element comes in. It's a clean, no-junk electrolyte mixed with